Hello everyone, welcome to Chelsea Sport Focus. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started.
Enzo Marresca responds after criticism for Brentford tactical decisions as Chelsea look ahead to Bayern Munich clash. Chelsea manager Enzo Marresca has found himself at the centre of debate following Saturday evening's 2-2 draw with Brentford in the Premier League, a match that once again highlighted both the promise and the fragility of this evolving Blues side. It was a game that had all the hallmarks of Chelsea's season so far: flashes of brilliance, moments of frustration, and a lingering sense of what might have been. After falling behind early, the Blues battled back to take a 2-1 lead late in the contest, only to let victory slip away in stoppage time as Brentford substitute Fabio Carvalho punished a lapse in concentration. Yet the real talking point came not from the result itself but from Marresca's selection and tactical approach, most notably his decision to start Wesley Fofana at right back. Redknapp's criticism sparks debate. Sky Sports pundit Jamie Redknapp did not mince his words during post-match coverage, accusing Marresca of getting it wrong by deploying the French centre-back in a full-back role. For a player who has been out injured so long, to go and ask him to play right back, especially a place where it's fast and furious like Brentford, he got it wrong in the first half, Redknapp said. He didn't pick the right team. Fofana, who has endured a torrid time with injury since his big money move to Stamford Bridge, lasted only 45 minutes before being replaced at the interval. His first half struggles highlighted the risks of placing him in such an unfamiliar position, especially against a Brentford side that thrives on pace, physicality, and direct wing play. Marresca stands firm. However, Marresca has defended his decision, insisting it was part of a broader strategy to manage his squad's workload across a congested schedule, with Chelsea balancing their domestic commitments and a looming Champions League clash against Bayern Munich, the Italy. When you have so many games, you have to plan different options, Marresca explained. For instance, Reece James played 2 games with his international team, so he played on Saturday and we were thinking about Wednesday. Our focus has to be about the Premier League, but at the same time we have to keep players fresh for Europe. Marresca went further, clarifying that Fofana's minutes were always going to be managed. We planned 45 minutes for Wes because he was a long time out, he said. We planned not all the game for Jorrel, Hato, because I've said many times that when you've just arrived from another country you need time to adapt. This explanation underlined Marresca's determination to stay true to his long-term vision, even at the cost of short-term criticism. Chelsea's second half revival. Despite the early tactical issues, Chelsea still had enough quality to wrestle control of the game in the second half. Cole Palmer, once again showing his ice-cold composure in front of goal, equalised after being introduced from the bench. Then came a moment of unexpected brilliance from Moises Caicedo, the Ecuadorian midfielder blasting home a stunning strike from the edge of the box. It was only his second goal for the club, yet it looked set to be a winner that would have gone down as a symbolic moment in his Chelsea career. But Chelsea's old Achilles heel, the inability to close out matches, surfaced once again. Brentford's late equaliser, bundled in after a long throw-in, left the Blues ruining 2 dropped points that could prove costly in the tight race for a Champions League place next season. Pressure mounting ahead of Bayern Munich. The draw leaves Chelsea with much to ponder as they prepare for a daunting Champions League tie against Bayern Munich. The German giants present a far sterner test, one that will expose any defensive weaknesses far more ruthlessly than Brentford managed. For Marresca, the decision to rotate against Brentford will be justified only if Chelsea perform at their best in midweek. The manager himself hinted at the balancing act he faces. If this season we play in the Champions League, it is because we did well in the Premier League, and if we want to play in the Champions League again next season, then we need to do well in the Premier League, Marresca explained. So our focus was about Saturday, but at the same time we have to prepare for Wednesday. The Fofana and Hato balancing act. Marresca's comments also shed light on the challenges of reintegrating key players after injury and adapting new signings. Fofana, making his first start since March, is still rediscovering his rhythm. Jorrel Hato, meanwhile, is navigating the physicality and pace of the Premier League after his summer arrival. Both players represent the future of Chelsea's back line, but both need careful handling. The manager's cautious approach, limiting minutes and experimenting with roles, may frustrate supporters in the short term, but it reflects a pragmatic recognition of the demands of modern football. What next for Chelsea? The bigger picture for Chelsea remains a complex one. On one hand, Marresca's side continues to show signs of evolution, with young stars like Palmer, Garnacho, and Estevao Willian adding excitement and flair. On the other, defensive frailties and inconsistency continue to undermine their progress. The trip to Bayern Munich will be a litmus test, not only for the team's tactical discipline but also for Marresca's ability to handle the scrutiny that comes with managing one of Europe's most scrutinized clubs. If Chelsea can emerge from Germany with a strong performance, much of the criticism surrounding the Brentford draw may fade. If not, the questions about rotation, tactics, and squad management will only grow louder. Reece James points the finger at Chelsea teammates after Brentford heartbreak. Chelsea's frustrating start to the season took another blow at the Glech Community Stadium as captain Reece James openly expressed his disappointment and issued a stern message to his teammates following a painful 2-2 draw with Brentford. The Blues, who were just minutes away from securing all 3 points, allowed the Bees to snatch a stoppage-time equaliser, leaving fans and players gutted. For James, it wasn't just the drop points that stung, it was the manner in which Chelsea allowed the game to slip away. A game that got away. Chelsea entered the clash full of belief after the international break, but the first half was far from convincing. Brentford, a team known for their physicality and resilience at home, caught Chelsea out early. Kevin Shade gave the hosts the lead, capitalising on sloppy defending and lack of urgency from the Blues in transition. Chelsea struggled to find rhythm in the opening 45 minutes, and though they saw plenty of the ball, their lack of sharpness in both midfield and attack meant Brentford dictated the flow of the game. Enzo Marresca, who has been trying to implement a possession-heavy style, was visibly frustrated as his side failed to convert dominance into meaningful chances. It wasn't until the second half that Chelsea began to show the energy and quality expected of them. Cole Palmer, coming off the bench, made an immediate impact with his trademark composure, firing in an equaliser that gave the Blues hope of a comeback. Shortly after, Moises Caicedo stunned the crowd with a brilliant strike to make it 2-1, and for a brief moment, Chelsea looked like they were about to walk away with a huge 3 points. But in stoppage time, with victory in their grasp, Chelsea switched off. A trademark Brentford long throw caused chaos in the box, and Fabio Carvalho bundled the ball home, sending the home fans wild and leaving Chelsea players with their heads. Reece James, we were not good enough. For Reece James, who came off the bench at half-time, the draw was more than just unlucky, it was self-inflicted. Speaking after the game, the Chelsea captain didn't mince his words as he criticised the team's performance, particularly in the first half. It's disappointing not to win, James told the club's official channels. We came here to win, and we found ourselves a goal down. We adapted the way we played and got ourselves back into the game. But in the end, they punished us because we weren't sharp enough. They are a strong team, and if you switch off, they'll take advantage, and that's what happened. James admitted that Chelsea's standards weren't met, making it clear that the players themselves were responsible for the missed opportunity. There are many factors as to why the first half wasn't good enough, James continued. It's always difficult coming back from an international break, but that can't be an excuse. We have super high standards at Chelsea, and we didn't meet them. They caught us on the counter, and we were prepared for it, but we didn't deal with it. Then to concede from a set piece at the end, when we knew they are very strong there, is not acceptable. We should be better. Captain's frustration on display. This wasn't just a captain ticking off talking points, it was a passionate outpouring from a player who knows the weight of the armband. James, who has battled through injuries to reclaim his place as Chelsea's leader, clearly feels a personal responsibility to demand more from his teammates. His comments weren't directed at the coaching staff or refereeing decisions, they were aimed squarely at the squad's mentality and execution. By pointing to the lack of organisation in defending Brentford set pieces and counters, James highlighted the same issues that have haunted Chelsea for several seasons: lapses in concentration, inconsistency, and a tendency to crumble in key moments. For fans, James' honesty will be refreshing. Chelsea supporters have long called for leaders to step up and hold players accountable when performances fall short. In James, they now have a captain who isn't afraid to call it as it is. What this means for Chelsea going forward. The draw leaves Chelsea in a frustrating position. Instead of climbing higher up the Premier League table, they remain stuck, struggling to find the consistency that turns good teams into great ones. Enzo Maresca will undoubtedly be concerned at how his players let the result slip in the final minutes, particularly with tough fixtures on the horizon. The Blues face Bayern Munich in the Champions League next, and James' rallying cry is as much about preparation for that clash as it is about reflection on Brentford. "We're not happy with drawing, but we'll keep fighting," James said firmly. "We'll have to accept the result and move forward. But we must learn from this. Games like this are about mentality as much as quality, and if we want to compete at the highest level, we can't afford to make the same mistakes again." The bigger picture, Chelsea's leadership vacuum. What's striking about James' comments is how directly they address the long-standing criticism that Chelsea lack leaders on the pitch. Since the departures of players like John Terry, Frank Lampard,